As I left the Seongsu Forum, a quiet but unmistakable feeling lingered. There was no grand declaration, no finished platform, no sweeping manifesto, and yet something was clearly already in motion, something that had begun to operate at the neighborhood level. It was the afternoon of December 17, 2025. A small group, around 30 people, had gathered on the 9th floor of a building on Seongsu Il-ro 1-gil at a space called Corner 25. By conventional standards, it was a modest event, one invited keynote followed by conversation and networking. Nothing excessive, nothing ornamental. But the weight of the room was not defined by scale or format. It was defined by who had chosen to be there. Representatives from Crafton, Musinza, SM Entertainment, SM Town Planner, XXY Mix, Hyundai Glovis, Deutsche Motors, DSC Investment, and Truston Asset Management sat at the same tables. Gaming, fashion platforms, global entertainment systems, urban planning, athleisure brands, logistics infrastructure, premium mobility, and long-term capital. Each of these organizations already operates on a global stage. None of them needed to attend a local forum. And yet they did. That alone revealed the phase this neighborhood has entered. When local institutions become global references, watching this scene unfold, I found myself thinking of three seemingly unrelated names: the New York Times, the Academy Awards, and the Davos Forum. Each is now a global reference point. None began that way. The New York Times was founded in 1851 as the New York Daily Times, a strictly local newspaper. Its mission was simple: report New York to New Yorkers. Even after Adolph Ochs acquired the paper in the 1890s and introduced the now famous line, "All the news that's fit to print," the statement was not a declaration of global ambition. It was a declaration of journalistic discipline. The Times did not try to become a global newspaper. It pursued depth from a local vantage point, New York's, and that depth earned global trust. Local perspective became a global standard. The Academy Awards followed a similar path. Organized by the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences, the Oscars were designed to stabilize and represent the American film industry. As director Bong Joon-ho famously remarked, the Academy is not an international film festival, it is a local one. And yet, Hollywood's local standards, amplified by capital and cultural reach, became the world's most influential cinematic benchmark. The Davos Forum, too, began far from the world's centers of power. In 1971, it started as a small gathering of European business leaders in a remote Swiss mountain town. That geographic isolation did not weaken the forum, it intensified it. The conversations were dense, focused, and uninterrupted. Over time, those conversations began shaping global agendas. What these institutions share is simple and profound. They did not announce themselves as global. They committed fully to the density of their local conversations. A familiar structure, reappearing. The keynote at the Seongsu Forum was titled Seongsu, New York, Local to Local. The premise moved beyond the familiar metaphor of Korea's Brooklyn. Instead, it explored what happens when neighborhoods, rather than nations, connect directly with one another. For me, this was not an abstract theory. Having worked with the Brooklyn Chamber of Commerce on international collaboration, I had seen firsthand how neighborhoods, Park Slope, Dumbo, Williamsburg, operate as global nodes precisely because they first function as coherent local systems. Today, through bcd-W, I continue to design structures where cities, brands, and communities grow outward from local ecosystems. This is why the talk felt less like a forecast and more like a reflection, because the people in the room were already capable of executing such a model. The real asset is not the name, but the way it works. To understand Seongsu merely as a trendy district or creative cluster is to miss its true value. Its real asset lies not in branding, but in how it operates. A structure where top-tier companies from unrelated industries sit at the same table. a shared language that translates local challenges into globally legible questions, a mindset that thinks in terms of cities, not countries, and an unspoken agreement that the future of the neighborhood is something to be designed collectively. In today's economy, intellectual property is no longer limited to products or services. Communities, philosophies, and operating protocols have become assets in their own right. What unfolded at this forum was an early test of such a protocol: how global influence actually spreads. The New York Times did not declare itself global. Neither did the Academy Awards nor Davos. They documented, they accumulated, they repeated the same type of scene again and again. The Seongsu Forum is still small, but it already possesses something essential: repeatability. If these conversations continue to be recorded, if shared standards begin to accumulate, if questions first raised here start circulating directly between cities, then, at some point, statements like these will emerge naturally. That conversation started in Seongsu. You can sense the next shift there. If you want to understand what's coming, look to Seongsu. At that moment, the name will no longer function as a place. It will function as a reference. The power of what is not yet finished. The forum is not yet complete. And that is precisely its strength. Finished names are easy to imitate. Unfinished movements have the potential to define new standards. What I witnessed was not an announcement, but an early signal that a neighborhood-scale conversation, quiet, focused, and precise, can one day shape global direction. There is no need to say it loudly yet. It is already spreading, slowly, naturally, and with intention. Author's note: this essay reflects not only a single forum, but a pattern observed across cities. From Brooklyn to Seongsu, I continue to study how local ecosystems, when they develop their own language and rhythm, expand outward and become global references. This piece is part of that ongoing observation.